Now, this is a great London project, and it's all tackling another bugbear of mine, food waste. If you listen to my show regularly at the weekend, you'll know that I do often put this in the mix because it's something I care passionately about. I hate waste, absolutely can't abide it. But this new initiative, which has been launched in Waltham Forest today, aims to tackle just that. It's called the Community Fridge. It's designed to enable local businesses and residents to share surplus food. It's been opened up in Leytonstone, and it's the fifth of its kind in London. So it's not a new project, but it's being extended out to the Waltham Forest area. Anybody will be able to help themselves to quality food that would have otherwise be wasted. So figures show the average household throws away an incredible £810 worth of food every single year. Well, we can talk now to Elle McAll, who's creative partner at Hubbub. They're an environmental charity and they're running the National Community Fridge Network. Elle, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Sounds like an exciting project you're setting up here then in this particular part of town. So how exactly does it work, first of all?
So how it works is up in Leytonstone at the moment there is a fridge sitting in a little cubby hole not too far from the station, and anyone can pop there between 12 and 3 every day, drop off any surplus food they might have lying around their homes, or pick something up for their day. So it's a really, really simple way of sharing good food that might otherwise end up in the bin. Okay,
and who's there to monitor to make sure people aren't taking too much or leaving stuff that's gone mouldy and out of date? Is there somebody looking over it?
There is indeed. There's a team of very enthusiastic volunteers based there every day, and so as well as popping in to pick up an apple or something for your dinner, you can also pop by to have a chat. And I think that's one of the real beauties of the community fridge, actually. It's not just about sharing food, it's also brings people together over food and enables new connections to form between people in the local community.
How is this working elsewhere then? Because obviously this is doing quite well in other parts of town and the country, so there's a need for it, clearly.
There is, and I think we've all been there where we've been going off on holiday in the summer and we've got leftover things in our fridge that we know we're not going to get through, and yet we don't know what to do with it. So these have been popping up all over London, as you say. This is the 5th community fridge, and actually there's 33 across the country. So we've set up a network of community fridges and to help people get going with setting up ones in their local area, because we know that food waste is just a huge issue that's not going away, and despite a growing awareness of it, there's not enough easy ways for people and businesses to get food near its sell-by date to others who might benefit.
Why do you think this need is growing then, Elle? Why is it not going away? Why are we seeing more demand for things like this?
I think there is always going to be, we're never going to get through everything that is on the supermarket shelves, that is in our fridge. There's always going to be food that will get to the nearest end of its life and need a new home or need to be passed on. So I think there's a lot we can do to reduce the amount of food going to waste in our homes. I think sometimes, for me anyway, a bit of planning ahead always helps, and being savvy with your leftovers. But when it comes to it, when we've got those few bits left over, it doesn't feel good to put it in the bin, and we all feel a bit sad when that has to happen. So I think there'll always be a place for them, for fridges, to pop in those leftovers.
I think that speaks to the donation aspect of the fridge, doesn't it? But I'm perhaps more interested in those who might want to go along to the community fridge and take something. So where do you see that need coming from?
I think there is, we all like trying to save money where we can, and I think especially when our household budgets are tight for a variety of reasons, this makes life that bit easier, and we know actually we can get something for completely free. Some do have a pay-as-you-feel box, so you can drop in a few pennies of what you think that might be worth, but it does help us if we are on a bit more of a shoestring or wanting to save money at home as well, knowing that there's easy access to free food just around the corner.
Sure. Are you looking at the same target audience effectively in that frame as the local food bank, for example, which might well be trying to supply a similar market to you?
It's a really good question, and lots of people ask that. I think the different thing about community fridges is that they are open to all, and actually the main focus is that it's about stopping good food that would otherwise be wasted, ending up in the bin, and knowing that it also makes nutritious food accessible to many people. So it does serve a very, very different purpose in that way.
Okay, so you're not looking for a referral in the same way that people who go to a food bank would need to be referred in some form. This is literally open to anybody to go along and help themselves.
It is indeed, Jim. It is. It really is.
So where this has been up and running then and working well elsewhere, who's coming along? Who's turning up to help themselves in that way?
All sorts of people. So there is fridges now based at universities. You get students popping in, swinging by to get something for their dinner. Families, local school children who are passing by on their way home today. There were some kids actually at the Leytonstone fridge today cutting the ribbon to welcome it to the community. So a whole range of people are kind of benefiting, and also finding that there's other things to be gained from popping into their local community fridge. I know there's one open in Camberwell where they also share kitchen equipment. So one person might say, "Oh, I don't have a blender, can I borrow that?" And so there's other things to be shared, people to meet. Cooking classes have also popped up at the Redmond Community Centre, where there's another community fridge. So people are finding that the more unusual things that are donated into the fridge, they can learn. Okay, what do I do with a tamarind, or how do I use these 30 avocados in a creative way? So
I think it's fascinating. So it's not just about food in, food out. That's it. It's a much more three-dimensional experience, and as you say, a community hub. That's the point of it all, isn't it? And for people to come together and share experiences as well, talk to one another, learn something as well, and perhaps put something in or take something away.
I think you've completely hit the nail on the head there, and that is the beauty of it, really. And I think for anyone who is interested in this, you can go to hubbub.org.uk, look at your nearest community fridge, get down there, volunteer, or even think about setting up one yourself. They're easy to do, and all you need is an enthusiastic team of volunteers.
Well, I admire your enthusiasm, Elle, I have to say. I'm sure it's a little bit more complicated than you make out, but just finally, I mean, if you can't get online, where is the Leytonstone community fridge exactly? So
it's based by Café Montmartre, which is just outside the station, just around the corner.
On Church Lane, near there.
On Church Lane, that's it.
I know it, yes, okay.
You know the one.
Good, okay, so midday till 3 p.m, Monday to Friday, if you want to go along.
That's the one.
Good stuff. Thanks very much, Elle. Really interesting project. I understand it, and I understand the need for it. And of course, we've got the food banks all over London, which have been doing thriving business for years now. A little bit of me is sad that we need it, but in many ways, look, it's pointless being sad about it. We need it, and it's there, and it's being used. So let's embrace it, and let's use that experience to share not just our knowledge and our love of food, but also the food itself. Why not?